So let's talk about a kind of transformation that doesn't happen in the light. No, this one happens in the deepest, most absolute darkness imaginable. Think of this as a kind of parable for the soul, an alchemy that all starts in a place called the Great Silence.
I want you to just kind of hold that question in your mind as we go through this. Because the journey we're about to map out, well, it suggests that inside the most profound emptiness, that's exactly where you find the seed of the most profound creation.
Okay, let's dive right in. Our story, our parable, it begins with a descent, a necessary journey down into shadow. And look, this isn't just about feeling a little lost. We're talking about a total eclipse of the ego, a downgoing, where the spirit has to become as dark as the earth itself, just to understand where the light even comes from.
You know, the ancient alchemists, they had a name for this. They called it nigredo, the blackening. It's that point where everything you thought you were just starts to decompose. It breaks down into what they called the prima materia, the raw, primal stuff of existence. It's like sinking into the collective unconscious, the very substance that everything is born from.
And this is what it feels like. A total dissolution of your identity under the crushing gravity of a black sun. Just try to imagine it. All the labels, the certainties, the roles you play every day, all of it just gone, sinking deep into the black earth of your own soul.
But here's the absolute crucial point. This isn't about being annihilated. This is chaos. And in the old myths, chaos isn't empty, not at all. It's the state of pure, raw potential. It's that fertile darkness where all new creation has to be birthed, through fire and through stillness. It really is like the source code of the psyche.
Now, psychologically, this part of the process is called mortificatio, literally the killing off. It is the ultimate trial. Carl Jung even called it the descent into the shadow of God. You're facing this divine absence, this terrifying silence where there are no answers, no guidance from above. It's a purification by the bitter water of the abyss, and it washes away every single thing that isn't absolutely essential.
And this brings us right to the central question of this entire journey. When you find yourself in this absolute darkness, what is it? Is it an ending, a tomb? Or is it an incubation, a womb?
And here we see two totally different ways of reacting to the exact same reality. On one side, you have the last man. He runs from the silence. He needs the constant noise, the distractions of the marketplace, because that void, it terrifies him. It shows him his happiness was just a thin layer over a deep, hungry sea. To him, the darkness is only a tomb. But on the other side, the overman, well, he embraces it. He recognizes the darkness not as an ending, but as a womb, a place for radical incubation.
And that's the secret sauce, right there. There's no resistance, no screaming against the dark. The overman merges with it, becomes the dark. And in that act of total acceptance, he masters what Nietzsche called the spirit of gravity, that heavy downward pull of despair. For him, this tomb is actually the final laboratory, the place where the lead of humanity gets cooked into the diamond of divinity.
So what is actually going on in this silent womb? I mean, it's not a passive waiting game, not at all. This is an active, transformative process, a real, genuine alchemy of the soul.
It kind of unfolds in stages. First, you just have to endure that raw trial, the mortificatio. Then, something incredible happens, a sacred forgetting. Now, this isn't amnesia, it's a conscious release. And it's only from that cleared out space that you can finally forge the ultimate yes to life, a yes that could only ever be born from the absolute no of the grave.
You can think of it in terms of Nietzsche's three metamorphoses: the camel, who carries all the heavy burdens of tradition; the lion, who fights for freedom but is totally defined by its trauma and its rage. Well, in this deep stillness, both of them are erased. They make way for the child, the archetype of the new beginning, of pure, creative play that's formed in secret, away from it all.
And what you discover in here is a truth that's so much deeper than any external law or rulebook. This is that great stillness that Nietzsche's Zarathustra was looking for. It's an inner wisdom, a silence that speaks with more authority and more truth than 1,000 commandments shouted from a mountaintop.
And this right here brings us to the emergence. The being who walks out of that tomb is not the same one that walked in. They've completed the great work. They've become the master of two worlds.
In alchemy, this is it. This is the goal. It's the lapis philosophorum, the legendary philosopher's stone. It symbolizes the integrated self, a state of being where all your internal divisions are healed. The conscious and the unconscious, the below and the above, they are finally united into one whole person.
And this is where we arrive at the final, truly mind-bending realization of this whole journey. That abyss you descended into and the spiritual height you might have been searching for, they're like two mirrors.
Facing one another. They aren't opposites on some vertical line. They're reflections. The depth of your descent literally determines the height of your ascent. One cannot exist without the other. The bottom of the abyss is the floor of heaven. So the goal then, it was never to escape the blackness to get to the light. The alchemy is only complete when you can see that they aren't separate forces fighting each other, but just two faces of the exact same reality, the one.
And so, the great secret is finally revealed. Rebirth isn't about breaking out of a prison. It's about waking up inside of it and realizing you were never really trapped at all. You were just gestating. The great silence ends, and the dance of the self-propelling wheel begins all over again in the morning mist.